This is going to be your guide to using Aerodactyl in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So Aerodactyl is a very requested Pokemon because a lot of people are using it, and Mega Aerodactyl does get pretty scary. So let's see what makes this Pokemon so terrifying. 80 on the base hit points. That's already pretty solid in Pokemon Let's Go, so that means we're going to be surviving super effective hits with our 65 defense and 75 special defense. 105 on the attack. Not ridiculous, but it also gives us a lot of 2-hit KO potential, which is good, because we outspeed, we hit them, we survive a hit, we hit them, and then we win, which is nice on our 130 speed, which is challenged by very few Pokemon. Going into the Mega Aerodactyl, things just kind of crank up a lot. 135 attack, so maybe finding some super effective one-hit KOs right there. Awesome. And then 150 on the speed, which is the fastest speed tier in the game, while also gaining 20 to defense and 20 on the special defense, making it very hard to deal with. Now, when I say making it very hard to deal with, it doesn't sound that way, because rock, steel, water, electric, ice, a lot of 2 times super effective hits, but again, it gets to survive those, because we don't have EVs, we don't have items, we don't have abilities, so it's probably getting some of the most buffed effectiveness in the game when it comes to Let's Go. Immune to ground, so you also have that as a switch, depending on what other Pokemon are on your team, which makes it like a really, it gets a free in against a lot of Pokemon, and it's a really good revenge Pokemon against a lot of Pokemon. So it does that. And then resistances, normal, flying, poison, bug, fire. This Pokemon gets to get away with a lot of things, and we can see that in Pokemon Showdown. So Pokemon Showdown, Aerodactyl's really strange, because when you look at a Pokemon that has pretty much no move diversity, there's no Elemental Fangs in this game. You don't have to worry about Fire Fang for 4 times super effective against a Ferrothorn or something, or an Ice Fang into your Dragonite. None of that. We have 3 offensive moves, and those are pretty much the only 3 offensive moves that Aerodactyl is going to be able to use. I'm strongly against the Iron Tail or anything like that. So, Crunch, Earthquake, Rock Slide. A lot of Pokemon get this. You know, we have a lot of the slower ground-type Pokemon. Rhydon gets this, but why is Rhydon not as scary? Well, that's because it's not fast. You know, this outspeeds Alakazam and then threatens ridiculous crunch damage. This outspeeds Electric-type Pokemon. So, one of the weaknesses, Electric, just gets wrecked by the Earthquake, and then we also have Rock Slide, which is going to be okay stab. Like, Rock Slide getting stab puts it barely over 100, so Neutral Earthquake is going to be about the same damage. Use the Neutral Earthquake if you don't want that 10% chance to miss if the kill is secured. That's my biggest advice for Aerodactyl. And then with that last move, we're stuck with 3 utility options. Taunt, Roar, and Stealth Rocks. And it's pretty much almost always going to be the Stealth Rock. So it's like Stealth Rocks plus 1 of those and then 2 offensive moves. It's going to be more common. But the reason why Aerodactyl works is like on the Mega Aerodactyl, you're so fast, nothing gets to challenge that Stealth Rock. You survive an Alakazam. The only weird thing that could happen is like Electrode winning the speed tie into a taunt and then like trying to Thunderbolt you. But the Thunderbolt isn't even enough to KO you, so you can bring back in the Aerodactyl. Like, that is an uncontested Stealth Rocks, and it means that your Aerodactyl is losing like 50% of its health for that, potentially, and then you just get some damage. So, Aerodactyl is a really good Pokemon for setting up Stealth Rocks, and then getting like 60% on another one of your opponent's Pokemon, or you can just switch it out at 50% and try to do whatever. So, that's going to be it. Now, I've seen Taunt, because it stops setup, and I've seen Roar, because it stops setup. So if anything sneaky is about to happen, you can shut it down preemptively, but then that removes your crazy coverage. So almost every Aerodactyl is going to be this. Not Steam Eruption. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not talking about something that crazy. But every Aerodactyl is going to be this. It's going to be a Jolly Nature. And there's nothing else to it. So let's take a look at these sweepers getting wrecked in the damage calculations. So it also depends on like what you're leading, what's going on here. Regular Aerodactyl does get outsped by Electrode and does take about 70-ish%. But you can't just expect to outspeed with Electrode and then shut down the Aerodactyl. That Stealth Rocks is happening. If you go for the taunt, then that Earthquake's going to be big. You Thunderbolt, it hits you again, and now you need a fast Pokemon or else Stealth Rocks is still coming. So that's going to be a problem. If you go into the Mega Aerodactyls, let's just, change this 35 and then plus 20 right there. Well, now we have a 75% chance to KO on a speed tie, and then Thunderbolt still 2-hit KO and doing decent amount of damage. So Aerodactyl's still going to be hanging around high 30s, 40-ish%, which it might be able to survive a weaker hit off of. So the Mega Aerodactyl is going to be scary. Well, what about that Gengar? Gengar eats an Earthquake, and then its Thunderbolt, also not going to be enough in return. We go into that Mega Aerodactyl, and Earthquake is a KO. So if you see the Mega Aerodactyl, you can't stop it with a Gengar, you can't stop it with an Electrode. The idea behind the Mega Aerodactyl is you need to use a slower Pokemon, even with a super effective hit, like you have to hit it twice. So Aerodactyl, outspeed, hits you, takes a hit, outspeed hits you, that's a KO, gets another outspeed hit, and then finally takes some damage, and then maybe goes down. So Aerodactyl is a very good 1 for like 1.5 Pokemon, and then Stealth Rocks with potential 1 for 1, or gives up like Stealth Rocks plus 0.5. I honestly don't think Stealth Rocks is that great of a move, but you're going to be seeing, if you see Aerodactyl, people are likely going to be doing Stealth Rocks, or they're going to be doing Stealth Rocks Mind Games, which is as dangerous. And if you want to set up Stealth Rocks, that's why the Aerodactyl is the go-to, because it works against sweepers. Like, it's an incredible anti-sweeper because of the typings of the sweepers and how everything is built up. So Jolteon, well, Earthquake from regular Aerodactyl, like, yeah, it's like we speed tie the regular Aerodactyl, don't have a one-hit KO with the Jolteon, and then Earthquake from Mega Aerodactyl, that's KO. So Mega again shows to just be pretty ridiculous. What about Starmie? Starmie is where things start getting okay, but still not the greatest. Like, cool, we get to survive from regular Aerodactyl and Mega Aerodactyl on the crunch. Surf is not a one-hit KO. So this is where it's like you have to eventually whittle away at the Aerodactyl. You know, 100 special attack, stab, surf. Not enough to KO this thing, and then Mega is still tankier than that. With Dugtrio, you're going to be taking damage, and then you still don't have like the best ways of responding to it. So Sucker Punch, you would hope that Sucker Punch plus Rock Slide is enough. Like, that's a super effective hit, and then another hit. Nope, that's not going to be enough to take down the Aerodactyl, and that's not even Mega Aerodactyl. So the idea is you give up one of your sweepers, or you take a lot of damage on a bulky Pokemon, and then Dugtrio also takes a lot of damage, and then gets the Rock Slide and finally finishes off after another Pokemon contributing. Or if your Dugtrio's already in, and they bring in Aerodactyl, it's hard giving up something with 120 speed on your team for speed, but at some point, you have to give up a Pokemon when Aerodactyl is in play like this. So that's when it's like, alright, do you get that 50%, and then you use that to kind of get another Pokemon in on it? Actually, technically you get more. If Aerodactyl's coming down on your Dugtrio, that is something that's worth staying in. You have to give up your Dugtrio for this, but it becomes worth it in the long run, I feel, just because of the power of Aerodactyl and Mega Aerodactyl. So the Rock Slide does a lot, Sucker Punch does a lot, and then your next Pokemon has to tank a hit and then finally take down the Aerodactyl. Okay, Gyarados. We've already been through one of the better special attackers for this. What about a physical attacker with an adamant nature? And Aerodactyl survives with that Mega Evolution. So regular Aerodactyl is going to go down to this. But again, you're taking a hit, and you're taking a kind of big Rock Slide. But Aerodactyl's damage does peter off at some point. A lot of times we're talking about this, like this is barely finding a KO with a super effective hit. So if Aerodactyl's hitting neutral, it's kind of the reverse. You know, it's like you have to two-hit it to take them down, and there's going to be something coming back, but there's not a lot of threatening moves. You know, it's going to take a lot. Like, these super effective hits aren't finding it against the Aerodactyl, and that's what makes it scary. So Gyarados, that's going to be a thing. If we go into the Mega Gyarados, so this is actually where a lot of things start to benefit us, because that Rock Slide going to be doing substantially less damage. Now we're back into 3-hit KO. Actually, not even a beneficial chance to 3-hit KO right there. And then the Waterfall will be enough to go and take out the Aerodactyl. So there's good levels of checks and balances when it comes to Megas, and I can respect that. But still, like, now you're stuck with this Mega Gyarados, which is going to get outsped by a lot. It's still, like, a really powerful Pokemon, still has a lot of bulk, but, you know, that's kind of the situations that you're forced into when that Mega Aerodactyl comes in. That's even if you want to run it. And then with the Mega Kangaskhan, this is kind of showing that, you know, it's not all doom and gloom against the Mega Aerodactyl, that you tank a hit, you know, the Rock Slide comes in, does 30-ish something percent, actually only a 55% chance of 3-hit KO against Kangaskhan, so Ice Punch, Sucker Punch, that's going to be KO combo right there, so you're only taking one Rock Slide, and you can even switch in on this, so, you know, you switch in, you take your 30%, you can switch in on that Earthquake, take a 30%, eat the Rock Slide, Ice Punch, Sucker Punch, that's going to be a thing. Stealth Rock Mind Games technically exist, but, you know, it's like Stealth Rocks to try to stall out the Sucker Punch and then PP it out, and then an Ice Punch can come your way. So it just gets weird, but it shows that you need bulk and you need super, and that's the only real way of dealing with the Aerodactyl. But Aerodactyl does well against its supers, so it's going to be like non-stab, 2-hit KOs against decently strong Pokemon, and they need to be bulky enough to not feel bad about switching in or being bad in this situation, and that's kind of how awkward it gets. So there we go, guys. The Aerodactyl matchup. It's like the ultimate anti-sweeper, and if you can build around it, then that means you get very rewarded, and it's hard to kind of incorporate your team to deal with Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl takes full use of that. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.